kind of tough. I'm having fun with it. I'm making it up as I go, but that's also potentially dangerous because I need to have elements locked in before I start building too much. You know, I don't want to build something out of rock and stone and concrete and then decide, gee, I wish I had moved it 3 feet to the left. That ain't gonna happen. I don't want to overbuild, but it's easier to have something too big than too small. Assuming I can afford to do it is the question. I'm still thinking probably buy some conduit. I really want to buy conduit this payday and then have it for that 3-day weekend. What I don't want to do, I really don't want to drill those things by hand. I mean, with the cordless drill. I really want a drill press, and I don't want to commit the money right now to a drill press. That's tough. It's harder than it seems like it would be, because minimum I could see paying would be about $100 for a drill press, and it won't even be a very good one. Now, I don't need a $500 drill press to drill through conduit. So there's that. But what I want to do is get a dome out there, just the conduit. You know, so drill it, bend it, flatten the end, or, you know, flatten the ends, drill it, bend it, bolt it together, just have it out there freestanding, no covering, just to see the scale of it. And then I could see, you know, taking the army cot out there and sleeping in it, and just, you know, even in the open, just to feel what it's like to be in it. Kind of like what I did, you know, when I first laid out the 6-foot dome, I put the army cot out there. I'm like, no, that's not going to work. You know, so it has to be bigger than that. Then I could see, you know, next payday buying more conduit, laying out maybe a 10-foot dome for the center and see how that is. Because once it's in place, then I can mark the lines and I could actually start building the wall, you know, the pilings and so on. Get a post hole digger, because I'm thinking, okay, post hole digger, put a hole on each corner, and you know, I think there's 10 corners on these domes. So you put a hole in each corner, fill that with concrete, have a top plate with a bolt coming out the top of it. Probably then build the rock walls under or between those corners, put hangers in them, and I think what would be pretty slick would be U-bolts down into the concrete, so that I got 2 bolts sticking up, right? And set them down enough, probably even put a rebar through the bottom of it so that they wouldn't pull out, would be really good. So if I can get long enough U-bolts and then set the corner piece, or, you know, the bottom pipe, put that right against the concrete, and then when I get them all put together so that they settle in location, then I can tighten them down. That's the tricky part. I almost have to build the dome first and then build the foundation underneath it to make sure it's exactly in the right spot. So that's kind of why I think I want to build the dome first. Because as you tighten them, then they all find their own center. So, and you kind of have to go up 2 or 3 layers before you do that. They say build the dome and then tighten everything. Also, it would make sense to figure out my doors and possibly my windows before I get to that stage, so that I could build frame in a door and then build the dome to the door. And the sections where the door is, you're going to break from the normal dome. And you know, if we were making it out of concrete and steel anyway, then I could kind of fill at the edges and make it tie together. So it's complicated on your first one because you haven't done it before. And part of my design is breaking away from the designs that I've seen. And so it's a little bit of a risk. It's a lot of a risk. Good find on the rocks today, that's for sure.